Oh, right. Welcome back. We are back again. And I'll tell you what, I am really enjoying these styles of videos where I just get to sit down and talk and speak about the knowledge that I've learned along my path on this journey that I started almost 2 years ago, where I was pursuing my dream as a professional football player. And in my experience, there has been an ultimate and just a huge amount of testing. I've spoke about this before in previous videos, but there's been a huge amount of testing and trials that you have to sort of go through to see if you are capable and you are the person that is required to get your dream life and become who you want to become. And all this testing really happens a lot before a significant change, butterfly, in your life. And before, for example, when, let's say, tomorrow your dream life was about to come true, I guarantee you that today, I'm afraid to say, it would probably be, I don't know if it would be the worst day of your life, but it would just be a pretty mundane, normal, shit day probably in your life. And then bang, maybe a bunch of tests would come up on that same day, and then you pass them, and then bang, tomorrow your dream life happens and you're like, oh my God, I passed the tests. But the reason why it's going to continuously test you over this time period, and the thing is with this testing, is it is going to test you over a very, very long period of time, a very long period of time, because it needs to see if you are going to be able to sustain what you want, and if you are going to be able to hold what you want and keep it and not lose it by falling back into your old self whilst you have it. Because your old self cannot hold what your new self wants and what your new self is going to get. So it's going to continuously test you over and 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 over again over a very long period of time. For example, let's say 2 months pass by since you start your journey towards your dream destination, and the testing, you recognize that there have been tests, like your old friends say, oh, let's go out for beers, let's go party, let's do drugs, and then you say no. You've passed the test there. That is the first test that you probably pass. But then this is where the true test really begins. The true test of your faith and your resilience in the pursuit of your dream is when, after, let's say, 8 months, 10 months, a year and a half, 2 years of consistency, that is where it really does start to get to you. And now, when your old life calls you back, you've got to really muster up the strength to continuously still say no. Because in your head, you're probably going to be thinking, oh, it's been so long, and how has it still not happened yet? How has it still not happened yet? And then that's where you're thinking, right, shit, am I actually wasting my time on this? Am I actually doing the right thing? And you're going to ask yourself so many questions. You're going to be so confused, and it's going to get you down. It really is going to get you down. And then that is when the tests start to really crank up a notch. And your old life will call you back, and it will be harder, because you'll now be in that mind frame where you are unsure of whether things are actually going to eventually happen for you. And then when your old life calls, it looks a little bit more attractive, because it's like, come back, and then you start to realize how good that actually was when it wasn't really good. It's not good for you, but because you're confused now, it is exhausting. It's mentally exhausting, and you're always constantly thinking, oh, when is this going to happen? But you've got to have faith, and that is the test. And it's as annoying as it is, it genuinely might be the same test over and over and over and over again over a very long period of time, until perhaps the universe is fully convinced that you are now that person that can continuously say no to your old life. And another reason why it's going to do this over a long period of time, and it is going to test you all the time with the beauty of your old life, because back then, when you just start your new journey, you'll probably think your old life sucks compared to the new life that you're trying to create. But when you're really quite far down the line, in my case, it's been almost 2 years since I started this like fully committed journey towards getting to where I really want to be. And then when your old life starts to come back into your mind a bit, you sort of start to go, well, actually, that weren't too bad. Now I'm thinking about it, it really weren't too bad. And that is the test you have to pass. That is it is so difficult. It really is. It really is difficult. But if you can just continuously say no, like I've said, you are going to eventually bump into, out of nowhere, on a random Monday, on a random Tuesday, 4 p.m, whilst you're just having your packet of nuts, I don't know, out of nowhere, you're going to get some crazy thing, some miracle, and your dream life is just going to be planted into your lap. And it will all have been worth it. Anyway, in my case, I actually want to give you an example of when this actually happened in my life, where I was tested massively. And this was not long ago. It's May. It's May the 1st today. Fucking hell, of 2025. Like, what is that all about? Did I just wake up yesterday and it was 2023, and now it's not even 2023, like 2019? And now we're halfway through 2025. Like, it's just crazy. Anyway, I'm sidetracking. In my own example, where I got tested massively at Christmas of 2024, is when I went back to the UK. When I went back to the place of my old life. And it was weird. I didn't tell anybody I was there. I saw one person that I used to work with, and their big mouth told everybody that I had just turned up. And so I had freaking messages flying at me from every single angle. You wouldn't believe it. It was like something out of an actual like story, where you would teach this to a kid who needs to learn this. And I got a message from a friend, a really good friend. He was one of my best friends when I was in the UK. And he wanted to meet up. And I was like, you know what? It's Christmas. Let's go for a beer. And bearing in mind that this friend that I used to hang out with all the time in the UK, I used to smoke weed with like it was, oh my God, I used to smoke weed with him all the time. And I was literally, my plan was, let's go for a beer, let's go for a meal, and let's have a chat. Let's have a catch up, because we're adults now. And then in that conversation, this is where my brain instantly went, right, I'm being tested. I'm actually being tested by my old life best friend right now. And he goes to me, oh, I've stopped smoking weed, but you know, I might occasionally smoke it. And then I looked at him like, all right. And he was like, how about you? You don't smoke weed, do you? When was the last time you smoked weed? And it was just a conversation that I absolutely knew where this was going. And I was like, okay, well, I don't. No, that's not what I do. And then it was sort of like, oh, well, I don't smoke weed, but, you know, I'd have those pre-rolled ones now and then. And I knew what he was trying to do. And if you're watching this, buddy, I just thank you for the test, because I passed it, by the way, and you're the reason I passed it. But fuck you as well a bit, because I knew what you were trying to do. And he was clearly trying to really like subtly convince me to say, oh well, maybe I would then, because I guarantee you, the moment that I say that little gap where I'd say, oh, maybe I would then, he would be fucking on it like that. Oh, let's get a pre-roll in. And then all of a sudden, if I did say yes, you know where that leads. And yeah, I said no. I literally just went, no, I don't do that anymore. That's not who I am. That's not who I'm trying to be. And I've grown past it. And so from that point, this is where it got like weird. From that point, most of the conversation was boring, dead, and not clicking. And I was just like, oh, this doesn't feel right now. Really, it doesn't. And then the even crazier part after that is, once the night had finished, once we'd had a couple beers, had a meal, had a catch up, it was literally like the next day, and nothing was said ever again to me. Nothing. I still to this day have not heard a word back from the guy I was with. After we just caught up for a very long time, when he was my best friend before, but that was clearly due to the weed smoking. And that just shows you that when your old life calls and you refuse it, your old life is also going to reject you. And that's not something to be upset about. I was happy about that. But that was just really, really eye-opening for me when that happened, to go, okay, well, I know for a fact that was a test and that I did pass it, but it's still crazy when it happens to you, and it's still crazy to experience that. So I think really it's just recognizing when these tests arise in your life, and not to put yourself in the position where you may be tempted to go back to old ways. I mean, I'm just a beast. I'm strong enough to go back I could go back anywhere where I was and just completely be the new person that I am now, and laugh at everybody who's trying to get me to do the old shit that I was doing. But for some of you, you might not be strong enough to do that. So I'd recommend not to put yourself in that position, unless you just know that you're a beast, unless you know you're unstoppable. But yeah, that's really my own experience, and an example that I wanted to share with you, so that you can recognize when these things might be happening to you as well. Like when you've picked a new place you want to be, and then your old life tries to claw you back. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. And I really hope you can take that away with you and just learn from it, and learn from my experience, but most importantly, now be a bit more aware, not be a bit more aware, be more aware when these tests arise, because they arise any moment. They'll arise in the next 5 seconds if the universe so willingly pleases, and it will come unexpected, and that is when you're tested like the most, because you're not prepared for it, but deep down you are, because you're trying to get to this new life. But anyway, yeah, I've said enough about that, and take this away with you, learn from it, and listen to it for your own life and for your own sake, so that you can progress onto your new destination and the new person you're becoming. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'm about to record another video, so I'll see you in a minute.